pod bay doors, please, Hal.
Martin, this is kind of an official meeting.
Good, good. I'm glad you're all here. I've got something to show you. Look at this. Fogarty just developed it. It came out of that camera from the missing divers.
Seaweed?
I don't know. What is it?
It's underwater, isn't it? That's why it's so dark.
Nothing I can see.
What are you talking about? Look at this. That's a shark. Look at the outline. Look at the mouth, the eyes.
Is that what it is? Sorry, I just don't see it.
Neither do I. It's nothing.
Martin, it could be anything.
Wait a minute. Are you people telling me I don't know what a shark looks like?
Brody, this is nothing. Seaweed, mud, something in the lens.
Lens my ass.
You're damn right it's your ass.
Now, be reasonable, please.
Reasonable what? With him?
God damn it, will you listen to the man? Will you just listen to him? Be reasonable. Look, Brody, you started a panic on a public beach. You shot up the damn place. God knows who you could have injured. Now, what if somebody decides to sue us? Did you ever stop to think about that? It could ruin us.
You don't have to worry about being sued or being ruined. If this turns out to be what I think it is, because there won't be anybody here.
Yeah, now, Martin, let's not,
Let's not what, Larry? What?
Oh, Jesus, Larry, huh? Come on, let's just forget it. He won't listen. It's obvious the man has made up his mind.
You bet your life I've made up my mind. But I'm telling you, and I'm telling everybody at this table, that that's a shark. And I know what a shark looks like because I've seen one up close. And you better do something about this one because I don't intend to go through that hell again.
The pod bay doors are open. Welcome once again. I'm your host, Jerry Dean Roberts of ArmchairCinema.com and also ArmchairOscars.com. Seated here with my very toothy co-host, the critic, dare I say legend, TalkMovieMe.com, Mr. Doug Heller. How the heck are you today, sir?
Listen, do me a favor. Act as if you've been here the whole time. How do I do that? Just look bored. Did you know that this place is the only one where the garbage man delivers?
Those are so apropos for this movie.
That's why I chose them.
Welcome to week 4. We're going number 2 this month. We're talking about all sequels that are number 2. And this week we're taking this one's a little different. We're talking about Jaws 2. You had never seen this.
I had not.
Now, we've talked about Jaws.
Yes.
Previous episode. We talked about Jaws. So, you are new to this. Tell me what you thought.
It's horrible. I mean, what's the point of any of this? It's basically just a rehash of the first one that relies on your knowledge of the first one for this to make any sense. It doesn't make it. It's incomprehensible. If you haven't seen Jaws 1, you won't understand Jaws 2. But if you see Jaws 2, you've basically seen a poorer imitation of Jaws 1.
And that's pretty much it. Well, good night, everybody. Well, no, it's.
Good night, everybody. Thanks, Yakko.
I watched it the other night, and I thought, now, watching it the other night, it was the first time I had seen it since grade school.
Oh.
Back in the early 80s. I had not seen it since. I watched it last night, and I'm sitting there, and because I've studied and I've loved the first Jaws so much, and I kept thinking, this is what would happen if you took the first movie and removed everything that made it work.
Yeah, pretty much. There's no Quint. There's no
there's no Matt Hooper.
There's no Hooper. There's just Brody yelling at everybody. So it's basically
not without good reason.
Well, no, I mean, and
it's repetitious.
Roy Scheider does what he can with the energy he can muster for the enthusiasm of being here, which is not much.
Bear in mind, he was in a 3-picture deal with Universal.
He did this just to get the hell out of it.
He did this just to get out of it. He does not want to be there.
And you can tell that in every expression on his face is just, I mean, he fit right in at the beginning because he looked bored from the moment you saw his face.
He's either bored, drunk, or pissed off.
And at some point, there's not really a distinction between the three.
Right. But he's doing what he can. I mean, it's not a terrible
Well,
performance.
there's not a lot to work with, though.
It's just there's not any joy in the performance because there's nothing. The movie's not giving him a lot to do. It's repetitious.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's like Sorcerer.
yeah, pretty much.
If you've ever seen Wages of Fear, Sorcerer is just a waste of time.
Yeah.
Sorry, William Friedkin. Sorry, Sorcerer fans. Watch Wages
I like
of Fear.
William Friedkin, but boy, that movie was terrible.
Watch
Well,
Wages of
Spielberg,
Fear instead.
If my calculations are correct, I think this is one of two Spielberg-less sequels. Sequels to Spielberg movies that Spielberg did not direct. This and Poltergeist 2.
Oh.
Um,
Technically, on paper, he didn't direct Poltergeist.
Yeah, well, on screen.
On film, he directed Poltergeist.
as a screen credit, he didn't direct it, but he's on every inch of the film.
Oh, yeah.
But this, he had so many problems, and it was such a headache to make the first one. He didn't have any interest in doing the second one. Because what are you going to do?
Well, yeah, I mean, at what point... I mean, Spielberg didn't need to do this.
Mm.
It was 1978.
Yeah.
He did Jaws. Close Encounters was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't need this crap.
Yeah.
He was on top of the world.
He didn't need it.
No.
And nobody really needed it.
No, this is completely unnecessary. This is so unnecessary that it feels like the only reason they got people back was because they signed a contract.
Right.
And
or
that's
because they
it.
foolishly thought that they were going to have the same experience. The
I
same
thought
quality
nobody
experience.
liked working on that movie.
Really?
Yeah, I thought nobody liked it. Everybody liked the end result, but nobody liked getting there.
This feels like an epilogue. It's 2 hours long.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of kids in the movie, and I cannot tell one from the other.
Yeah, they're all good-looking white teenage 70s kids, and they all look the same.
New England kids.
New England kids, so they all look identical.
And it's the late 70s, so all the teenagers look like shit, but they're all getting laid.
Right.
So
Early 80s too. Like wait, that didn't happen in the 90s, I'll tell you that right now.
I recognized Keith Gordon because he's been in a lot of other stuff.
I actually want to know when the oldest Brody kid turns into Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid, yeah.
Because that's an interesting transition.
Yeah, that's an interesting transition. I was just sitting there thinking, because there's one girl. It's the girl who's trembling and screaming at the end, the one who's going to end up in therapy.
Which one? Oh, that one. The one that's really, really shell-shocked. Yeah.
She was in a movie in the 80s called Angel. And that's the only other place I've seen her. And it was one of those movies I wasn't supposed to be watching because it's about... Now, tell me this plot line does not come from a movie created by, middle-aged white men. It's about a girl who goes to school by day. She's a straight-A student.
Of course.
And by night, she's a hooker on Hollywood Boulevard.
Okay, that tracks.
And there's a killer about.
That tracks. That.
And they made 3 of them.
That tracks even further. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Well, It's like what was it the from Seinfeld, Rochelle, a girl's erotic journey from Milan to Minsk, you know. That sounds exactly like a '70s movie that you would see. It sounds like something Paul Verhoeven would have done in Holland, you
Well,
know.
probably would have made it. I guarantee it would have made it more interesting.
Have you ever seen his stuff from Holland?
Yes.
Yeah. More interesting? I don't know.
This was directed by a guy named Gino Swark.
Yeah, who did nothing.
He's kind of one of those directors for hire.
Well, look, he did Supergirl for Christ's sake. He's not a
Yeah.
good director.
Yeah, he's a director for hire. He's just
yeah.
kind of like Brian Levant or Raja Gosnell or somebody like that. Somebody
Who?
that you just get to do. I think Raja Gosnell did the Rush Hour movies.
Yeah. No. Brett Ratner did the Rush Hour
Well,
movies.
Brett Ratner. Brett Ratner too.
Well, fortunately, his career has gone down the tubes because they found out how they are finally acting on how much of a terrible person he is.
No, really.
Yeah.
Brian Levant did the Flintstones movie.
Mm.
And a lot
Brett
of
Ratner
crap.
was behind that Rat Pack Productions.
Oh, really?
And yeah, that was his production company. Gal Gadot got him removed from Wonder Woman 1984 after some stuff started surfacing. He'd been known as a womanizer and just a terrible, terrible person about Hollywood.
Yeah.
And when Me Too started, Gal Gadot just like put her foot down. She's like, "Yeah, he's not going to be in my movies."
Yeah, he's not going to be involved in this.
And
Yeah.
once that happened, things started to fall apart around him, which I don't mind because Brett Ratner, first of all, he's not very good as a director, and second of all, he is a terrible, terrible person. He is horrible to women.
Yeah.
He's I mean,
Misogynist.
oh yeah, oh, and a racist. If you've ever seen those Rush Hour movies, there is some serious racial problems.
Especially
in
the
those
second
movies.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when Jackie Chan goes up to the guy, "What's up, Mike?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was in the first one.
Oh, was that the first one?
Mhm.
I don't know. My family likes them, so I've had to watch them more than I ever really wanted to.
I saw the third one, I remember, and
I've seen all three of them at least 4 times. None of them of my own volition.
it's one of those series where Hollywood, you could tell Hollywood executives were beating the bushes trying to replicate Lethal Weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And they were trying with all their might to have another cop buddy team.
Well, the problem with Rush Hour is that Rush Hour is a slightly better version of what was that terrible Jay Leno movie, Pat Morita movie that we did in November a couple years ago, last year?
I'm blanking on the name.
Whatever the hell the name of that is.
Collision Course.
Collision Course, yeah. That was even my pick. I forgot what the name of it was. It's basically
It's easy to do.
it's basically a slightly better with occasionally one or two more funny jokes in it
Mhm.
than Collision Course over
Wow.
3 movies.
Over 3 movies, and one of them has Roman Polanski. Yeah.
If we ever do this again, Rush Hour 2 is probably going to be in there.
Mhm. I couldn't. I've seen the first one. I kind of enjoyed the first one. I saw the third one. I never saw the second one, which is strange because I never jump around like that. But I don't think it really matters
No.
because they're all the same movie essentially. But I saw this advertised in a comic book when I was a kid when it was
Okay.
coming out.
Well, that makes sense.
And they were asking the question, who directed Jaws 2? And that question is on page 5. You turn to page 27 and they'll give you the answer. Well, I saw the answer first. And I swear when I saw Gino Swark, I thought it was an anagram. I thought they had jumbled the letters so you had to make out what it was. Because it's a very unusual name.
Well, it's French.
It's French.
Well,
But
it's actually it looks like French Polish.
yeah, yeah. But it's a very unusual name, I didn't clue into it as a name. I thought it was a word jumble or something. But this movie, again, and like I say, it's the first movie without any of this stuff that made the first movie work, and because the first one was like a miracle. They did the shark didn't work.
Yeah, the first one should not have been good, and it's one of the best.
The shark wasn't working.
Right.
So Spielberg was forced to make the ocean into the source of terror.
Right.
So you didn't see the shark until way late in the movie. And I tracked it. You see the shark in this after about 10 minutes.
Yeah, there's no
Unless it's in the I couldn't make out it was in the opening scene. I don't think you see it.
Oh no, with the orca?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you don't see it. You just see a camera that's taking pictures without anybody pushing the button.
Well, it's one of those automatic things, I guess.
Yeah, bullshit. Because the guy's holding it, and so it's I don't know. It seems I started rewatching the beginning of this morning, just to kind of freshen because I first watched this like a month ago.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, let's see if I can remember this one because the one that we're doing next week, I had to watch the first one and the second one, and it was like in the same day, so I've merged the two movies.
This is 2 hours long. There is not material here. There is not material here for 2 hours. You could make this shorter than Men in Black 2.
This actually feels like it should have been like the pilot for a Jaws television show.
Yeah.
This could have been done in 45 minutes with 15 minutes of commercials.
Mm-hmm.
And it just would have been a television adaptation of Jaws starring the stars from the original.
Right.
And that's it.
And it opens with, and this is very strange, it opens with, because the first one opened with an investigation.
Mm-hmm.
This one opens with Roy Scheider going to a fundraiser. And I think they're open. I don't know if they're. I can't figure out what they were trying to do. I think they were opening a community pool or something.
No, it's a hotel and
A tourist place.
Yeah, it's a hotel.
A really sweet looking pool.
Yeah, and Chief Brody making catcalls to an underage girl.
And
that was upsetting.
Ellen's boss
being horrifying.
Yeah, because Brody is standing there, and the boss is standing next to him, and when Ellen walks up, I mean, he's checking her ass out hard.
Mm-hmm. And then he goes, I don't know what I'd do without her. No, really. Neither do I.
Neither do I. And by the way, I gotta say this. Only rich white people could come up with the idea of a money tree.
Right?
An actual money tree.
What the hell is that?
They go up and they put their donations.
They pin money on a
cash. In cash.
Yeah.
Pin their donation to this little tree. And I'm thinking, oh, there's so many problems with this. It's just, you couldn't just write them a check?
I guess it's visually symbolic, but I mean, it ruins your whole money doesn't grow on trees thing. If you wanna go after your kids for that, if they saw that, they'd be like, I fucking saw a money tree, man. I know.
Somebody's gonna be snipping some fruit off that tree. I'm telling you.
Now I know it was 1978, but really $1,500 for a scholarship. I mean, that's gonna get them.
Yeah.
That's gonna get them a meal at the cafeteria now. Like,
Yeah.
it's like.
That might pay for their supplies for the semester.
We're talking pens and notebooks, not actual textbooks, because that's like 3 textbooks.
Now, if you think about it, if they got the textbooks and they got the supplies, you know, the calculators and all that stuff, it would be about $1,500 these days. I know. I've been to college. I know. I know this.
I've been twice. Yeah, no.
But the whole front half of this movie is so. I got bored through the whole movie. I just got bored.
Well, that's why the opening line being "just look bored" is completely apropos.
Yeah.
Anybody walking into the movie, somebody could have said that to it. Just look like you've been here the whole time. How do I do that? Just look bored.
Just look bored.
It could be
And the
any
whole
any
thing-
film critic walking in the middle of it. Somebody could have said that to them, and it would have been apropos.
And the summation of this movie is there's a shark in the water. Brody suspects there's a shark in the water. Nobody wants to believe him, but he's going to prove that there's a shark in the water. That is the whole movie.
Right.
And people
it's-
keep, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just redundant. It is
Yeah.
it just they put it through the redundancy machine.
Yeah.
And, you know,
They drew a line in the first one to let you know that if people know that there's a shark in the waters here, that it's going to ruin the tourism, it's going to ruin the town, and everybody's going to be on welfare the whole winter because they're not going to pay. They're not going to have a livelihood because there's not going to be any tourism. They draw the line in the first one with that. They don't do that here. The whole line is, Brody, you don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy. Go away.
right, how could there be another freak great white in our waters when they said it shouldn't have even been up here the first time?
Because it's the ocean.
Right. And like all of this, all of what they're doing is just psychotic denial.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we've already been through this, so it can't possibly happen again. It's like, I mean, the whole thing about lightning not striking twice in the same location, that's bullshit. It happens
Yeah.
all the time.
Mhm.
Empire State Building, anyone?
It's the ocean.
Yeah.
Things swim around. You're likely to have another shark.
Things get into currents and get pulled up in places that they don't belong, and then they have to survive there or go back to where they came from. Or die.
Can we talk about the gasoline lady?
Do we have to?
God.
I just finished watching that. That was the last thing I saw before we started recording.
This must be covered because
This
it's
is the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
they're
So
water ski- they're-
apparently,
she's-
first of all,
they're
she
water
just-
skiing with a friend.
right,
And
this woman is water skiing with a friend, and apparently she keeps TNT openly on the deck and decides to fight the shark by pouring gasoline on herself and then shooting a flare at it.
well, first it eats the water skier. The
Well,
shark
yes.
eats the water skier.
Yes, and half the water ski.
And half the water ski, and she keeps calling for her, and then the shark attacks the boat.
Mhm.
And the lady's response, she grabs a gas can. All I can figure is that she was trying to pour gas on the shark,
I think, yeah, so that she could shoot the flare and kill it.
but she poured it on herself.
The whole
and
thing
then
is so
grabbed the flare gun.
yeah, the whole thing is so like rocking back and forth. She ends up dumping half of it on herself.
But she still grabs the
She
flare
still
gun.
grabs the flare gun
and blows herself
and
up.
shoots it not at the shark, but at the floor of the boat, at the deck of the boat,
Right.
where she then catches on fire. So does the shark,
Yeah.
and well, she just
And we get a nice shot of her on fire.
Yeah, then the whole boat, for no reason whatsoever. It's not like the fire got to the gas tank that quickly.
Right.
Blows up as if it got shot by a torpedo.
Right.
It's like, do they just soak their boats in nitroglycerin out there? Like what? That's not how things happen.
It's just kind of a.
It's like one of
'Cause
those
what
bad
it looks
movies
like-
that anytime they like the car goes up on one of those like ramps and overturns and then blows up. So how did that happen?
Yeah. Well, the scene goes by so fast that it looks like she just picked up the gas can and poured it on herself.
Right. It looks like self-immolation.
Right. Right. But that's was that fourth death in this movie.
Yeah, and I only got like 25 minutes, half an hour in.
Yeah.
There's like a
Yeah.
it is like a blood-soaked fest out there with this movie. What, three
And
people
that's
die in the
followed-
first one.
That's followed by the whale that comes up.
Oh my god. Yeah, the orca.
Yeah, the orca whale.
The
It's a
actual
beached
orca.
whale.
It's a killer whale.
Yeah, it's a killer whale, and it's washed up ashore. And they bring in this biologist to make measurements because it's been chewed up.
Right, and Matt Hooper is out in a better movie. And
Let me tell you something.
Richard Dreyfuss knew not to sign a contract that would bring him back for a sequel.
It had been 30 years since I'd seen this. Okay. And Ellen has the line, he's in the Arctic Ocean, and he won't be back in radio range until next spring. And for a second, while she was talking, because they kept bringing him up, for a second, I thought he was going to be in the movie. And when she said he'll be out of radio range for the next 6 months, it broke my heart because I thought, oh, that means we'll never see this character again.
Nope.
Ever.
Nope.
And when the biologist is out there taking measurements, I kept thinking to myself, because the dialogue she has sounds like it was written for that character.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, you probably didn't recognize the actress. That is the actress who played Mayella in To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh.
Yeah, she played the victim, the rape victim in To Kill a Mockingbird. And but yeah, all of her dialogue just sounds like it was written for Richard Dreyfuss.
I love, check the bite radius. Bite radius of what? The whale? No, the shark. What shark? The shark that bit this. I mean, it's like back and forth. It's like, come on, man. Just, can we streamline this a little bit? There is so much unnecessary dialogue in this.
Yeah.
That if they would have actually taken out a lot of the pointless back and forths, it would have been 95 minutes.
This movie has a pacing issue.
Oh, yeah, like there isn't a pace.
Because it drags
Oh.
and drags and drags.
Which, again,
Endlessly.
look like you've been here the whole time. How do I do that? Just look bored.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Well,
the
look.
first line in the movie, and it sums up the whole film. Like, how do you do that? Like,
There is not there's not a whole lot that you can do here. There's not a place that you can go, which is why nearly every other shark movie ever made has failed.
mm-hmm.
Because there's not a lot of places you can go with this premise
That Jaws didn't already go. No.
that Jaws didn't already go to. And that's why Orca didn't work, Shark didn't work, any other shark movie.
The Last
didn't work.
Shark. That's a
The Last Shark,
Oof. Jaws
Deep-
3, 4.
Deep Blue Sea, the only reason it worked was because they made them mutants.
Yeah, that movie didn't work.
At least it was different.
Well, yeah. But I mean, it's not much different than, what was that crocodile movie, Lake Placid?
Yeah.
Alligator or crocodile, whatever that was, a giant alligator.
Well, there's alligator, and they made two of them.
Oh yeah.
There's just not a whole lot of stuff that you can do. It's a shark.
Yeah.
It eats people.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can't give it the the motivation that they try to give it in the third and fourth one, like it's some kind of a grudge thing.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, we're coming after this family. No. No.
Well, the thing that hangs on this movie is the fact that Brody keeps getting more and more paranoid because he keeps digging up more and more evidence that this is a shark, and nobody will listen to him. And he makes an ass of himself.
Yeah.
And I mean, hardcore.
Like up one side and
It's-
down the other, like not
It goes
even.
out to the observation thing, which they don't want him to do anyway.
It's like, oh look, Brody's riding his tower. Oh shit.
I like it when the real estate agent is they're showing those people around. The mayor and the real estate agent are showing those people around, and he says, "What's that man doing up there?" And the kid's like, "It's a shark tower."
Uh.
Yeah, yeah. Get her out of here. Because these are rich white people, and they want them to buy stuff.
Right.
You know? It's a shark tower. Oh, can't say the darndest things.
Why is there somebody in a show? Oh, just a precaution. We've never had a shark here, except for the one last year.
And the one this year. And anyway,
The one that's actively out there hunting, but you know, it never happens, really.
and then he spots something, and this takes forever.
Oh, man.
He spots something. It's he's looking at it, and then it's what he's looking at, and then it's he's looking at it, and it's what he's looking at, and it goes back and forth, and he panics.
The problem here now, it's amazing that the screenwriters were who they were.
Mhm.
Carl Gottlieb, I mean, he wrote the original script.
Yeah.
But they try to get suspense from panic,
Mhm.
and it's not the same thing.
No.
They are very different sensations. So a guy yelling and freaking out
Mhm.
is not as compelling as nobody doing anything while something is coming to eat them.
Well, and not only that, but firing a gun in the middle of a crowd
Yeah, well, yeah, there's that trouble too.
after you watched him lace his bullets with cyanide.
Yeah.
I mean, that close-up shot of him putting the cyanide on his bullets and then the candle wax. Just,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh my. I think I just found the problem with the screenplay. Howard
What's-
Sackler was the co-writer.
Yeah.
He didn't write too much. He was responsible for The Great White Hope in 1970.
Good movie.
He was also a co-writer with Stanley Kubrick on his first two films, Fear and Desire and Killer's Kiss, which are two
Really?
of the single most pretentious movies I have ever seen in my entire life.
Killer's Kiss, a movie so bad it's an extra on the DVD for the Killers.
Yeah. The Killing.
The whole movie
The
is an
Killing.
extra.
The Killing. The Killers is a different movie.
The Killing.
The Killers
Yeah.
is a Robert Siodmak movie that actually
The
has the other version of it from 1964 on it with Ronald Reagan in his last film role in 1964 as the Heavy before he ran for governor of California.
Yeah.
That's on the Criterion. That's a 2-disc on the Criterion.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Killer's Kiss was an extra on The Killing, and
Yeah.
Fear and Desire, it's worthwhile just to see Stanley Kubrick's first film.
Mhm.
But outside
As
of that,
as a completist.
right. Outside of it being a curio, have you ever seen Killer's Kiss or Fear and Desire?
I saw Killer's Kiss on TNT one time.
Man,
It sucks.
I've seen Killer's Kiss like 4 times, and I still don't really know what it's about. I
Yeah.
lose track of it about halfway through, and it's only about an
Mhm.
hour long. it's
It's not long at all.
not, and it's not easy to follow either, which is really hard to do.
It's way shorter than this movie. Let me tell you what happened last night. I'm sitting there and I'm watching this, and I know that I'm bored when I keep checking the time. When I keep checking how much longer I've got on the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And on HBO Max, it'll tell you on the left side how much time has elapsed, and on the right side, it'll tell you how long the movie is. I pulled out my calculator and started doing the math to figure out how much longer I have to be watching this movie. 47 minutes. Oh, jeez. God, I want to go to bed. That's my dedication to this show.
Well, hey, look. I watched this in the middle of the afternoon the first time, and I said, 47 minutes? I want to go to bed.
I'm going to tell you, when they get to the back half of this movie, because the back half of this movie is both of Brody's kids go out sailing because they're going to go, apparently they're going to go to the lighthouse, and they go out sailing with their friends. This might have meant something if I could tell any of the kids apart.
Right.
I didn't even, for 1 minute to the next, I didn't know who died. Because
Yeah, I still don't.
I still don't, because there's like 15 kids out there, and I can't tell them apart.
Right.
When they say Eddie, I don't know who they're talking about. Really?
No idea.
I know the girl that was an angel, and I know the two sons. I know Keith Gordon, and I know the Michael and Sean, and that's it.
Yeah.
But when somebody gets eaten, I'm like, I don't know who that was.
Right, right. When the what was it, the kid, the Mike,
Yeah.
was talking about some blind date,
Mhm.
and then when they're getting on the boats, and this guy taps this other guy, he's like, "Hey, well, look at her," and she's like, "Ah, she's got tits like a sparrow." Why do you need to talk like that? I thought that was the kid that was going out with her.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's a different
It's
person.
not.
It's the mayor's kid that says that, and not Brody's son that says that. I'm like, what the hell? Where am I?
I remember a joke in the Mad Magazine parody of this, where the girl asks Mike if he wants to go out sailing with them, and he says, "No, I got to stay home. I'm grounded." And she says, "Well, I was thinking of going topless." And he says, "Suddenly realizing I'm an orphan, I'm in."
Yeah.
Yeah, but the whole back half of this movie is
That's
just,
actually better written than anything that's in the movie.
that's better written than anything they should have written in the movie.
Yeah.
But the whole back half of this movie is just them getting picked off one by one. And every time
While
they go
Brody
to get
is
rescued,
desperately looking for them and not knowing how to get there.
not knowing how to get there. And his little deputy is one of the whiniest. Oh my God.
Although I do like the one,
But it's getting late!
yeah, he was much better. He was much better in the first one, played by the same actor.
Played by the same actor, yeah.
But I do like the only part that I like him in is when he's like, "Oh, hey, why don't you help me with this 908?" He goes, "What, 908? I don't know what a 908. What's a 908?" And he goes, "A 908 is get me out of there."
See, that kind of interaction I like.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of stuff was in the first one. And
And the
I
only
just,
place it exists is when Chief Brody is on the screen with that deputy.
right.
Any other time in the movie, when it's just the deputy, when it's just Brody, when it's Brody with other people, it doesn't happen.
Right.
They're the
Because
only
this
two.
is one of those. This is one of those movies where all they talk about is the plot.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that.
Yeah.
That's what the first one was so great because there were other things going on.
The first one wasn't about the shark. It was about the town dealing with a seemingly unstoppable force. It was
Right.
it was about the town and not the shark. The second movie, the third movie, the fourth, they're all about the shark. And the shark is
Yeah,
not
this is a
interesting.
series. This is a series that gets progressively
Yeah.
worse.
The shark is not the interesting part of this, and that's what everybody misunderstood. Uh,
Well, and also this is a tribute to how bad the other two are. This is the best sequel. This is the best of these
oh,
sequels.
that doesn't leave me
Yeah.
much. I haven't seen 3 and 4.
You're fine. You're fine.
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking
Well,
about
the third
watching
one-
3 and 4 as hard as I was way back when I watched Highlander. That I only watched the first one. I was like, yeah, I'll watch the rest of these because this is so bad. I would have watched the rest of them, and then I finished the first one. I'm like, I'm never watching any of these again.
Well, you get to the third one was supposed to be a comedy. It was supposed to be a parody like Airplane. The movie was originally called Jaws 3 People Zero.
Oh, I thought it was originally called Jaws 3D because they tried to do
And
that
it was called Jaws 3D because it was in 3D because I saw it in the theater. And it sucked.
Sorry.
Jaws the Revenge. That's the movie that Michael Caine couldn't be present to pick up his Oscar for Hannah and Her Sisters because he was making that shit. He was in the Bahamas making that movie.
At least he got to be in the Bahamas.
At least he got to be in the Bahamas.
You know,
Well,
that's why
this
they
one-
did the second half of Help.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because the Beatles wanted to go to the Bahamas.
Well,
they
that's why
wrote
they
that
make every-
part in.
That's the way it is in almost every Adam Sandler movie. It's like, the only reason he makes the movie is because he wants to go on vacation somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, and
then he sticks the public with a shitty movie.
yeah, and there's at least one part in every Bond movie where he gets to go to a nice island and really kick
Yeah.
back for a few weeks while they film.
Yeah.
Like every time. So
Well, I got to talk about this because he makes a public spectacle of himself when he goes up to the tower and he sees something and he panics and he runs down and he scares everybody to death. He shoots into a crowd, almost shoots a kid, and it turns out to be a school of bluefish.
yeah.
The disgrace.
How was he not fired immediately?
It hangs.
Oh wait, he was fired immediately.
No, like they hang on his
Oh my
disgrace for a
God.
couple of minutes. It's like, okay, go. This is starting to get depressing. Move along.
Seriously, like this is just. And then they
It's like
they
we
really
get a reaction shot from the mayor, from the real estate guy, from Ellen, from the tour, from everybody.
from
It's
the
just,
kids that I don't even think the kids were in the same area, and they still
And I
got
think
reaction
those
shots
people,
from them.
and I think those people with all the money that they were showing around, I think they were there too. And it's such a shock that he ends up getting fired, but I'm sitting there thinking, I get it.
That's a fireable offense.
Yeah.
I mean, it was public endangerment.
And we don't know
He should
what
have been
actually-
arrested.
And brought up on charges. That's what's missing. And at the end of the movie, he doesn't have a job.
No,
He's still unemployed.
no, don't they give him his job back? I don't know if they do. or not.
No, they don't give him his job back. The movie ends with him. He tricks the shark into biting the power cable,
Right.
which again is going to cause even more problems.
Yeah.
It's going to cause even more problems. And then the movie ends, and they're all smiling and laughing because, hey, yay, we're still alive despite the 14 people that have already died in the last 2 hours. But, a nice sunset over Martha's Vineyard, and he doesn't have a job. And by the third one, he's dead.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I guess, yeah.
I mean,
Because otherwise Dennis Quaid wouldn't be useful.
yeah. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching. I've got I'm watching because I watch it on my computer. I've got the thing on my pointer sitting on the on the counter. And I'm kind of like, okay, I've got 8 more minutes of this. 7 minutes of this. 7:59, 7:58. It's like
I felt like at the end of this, they took the was it that the open lens? Now I can't think of it. Photography, the Koyaanisqatsi, just in reverse because that's all
Yeah.
sped up. I think it's in reverse.
Yeah.
It's just they took that and just reversed the process, kind of like how Spielberg reversed the Vertigo shot in the first one. They took that process, time lapse. It's
Yeah.
reverse time lapse.
And this was one of the biggest movies of that year. It just, I don't know. I watched it last night again. All I could think, the word on my brain was, I'm bored.
Yeah, it's
I'm just bored. Because it's the same thing, and it's 2 hours, and it could have
Right,
probably been cleared up in an hour.
right. It's just endless attack. Brody yells about an attack. An attack. Brody yells about an attack. An attack. They go looking for the thing. Brody yells about the thing. There's an attack. Like
And the most sensible thing that happens in this movie is they fire him.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. This thing was not worth the film it was printed on.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's all I
have.
got.
Yeah. What are we doing on next week?
Next week, you talk about a shit pit.
I've been dropping
Next
hints
week.
around this one, but
We're talking. It's our final film on our number 2 month. Next week, we're talking about Highlander 2.
holy
The Quickening.
shit! I watched this, and oh my god.
There's like 8 different movies in there.
Oh.
God, this is a headache.
The trouble is, I'm gonna have to rewatch it because, like I said, I rewatched Highlander and then I watched this, Highlander 2. But I keep mixing the two movies together because they're so bad they might as well have been the same movie.
Highlander has a tight plot compared to this.
I hate it.
I mean-
I hate both of them. I hate both of them, and I just.
I got my work cut out for me because I got to watch the first one again.
Don't watch the second one right away, or else you won't be able to distinguish between the two. That's why I have to watch the second one again.
I'll give myself a day or two. But I know that when I was a kid, I enjoyed the first one.
Mm.
I've seen a couple of the others. The third one, I think, has Mario Van Peebles. I think I saw that one.
The third one actually has a person of color in it?
Yes.
Wow.
And the line, Highlander's coming and he owes me 400 years. It's like, there's a bid for racial harmony. Oh, God, that movie hurt my jaw. It's like, it just... I do not like the Highlander movies.
I don't either. So this is gonna be a treat. So you can find all of our back episodes at the podbaydoorspodcast.wordpress.com. You can listen to us on iTunes and YouTube. Hit the like, subscribe, and the notifications on any of those. Turn on your notifications on Twitter for @pod_bay. Copy and paste that over onto Patreon, where you can find couple of things. Most recently, we did exclusive to Patreon Star Trek: The Motion Picture fire sale review. Had a lot of fun with that one. That was a good episode. See if you can swing over there and pitch us a few dollars and see if you can listen to that one. We greatly appreciate that. We thank you so much for listening, and the Pod Bay doors are now closed.
The mission has been completed.
Staring at the clock, I'm wondering why I'm still here. Yeah, and my head's about to pop. I'm thinking that you best stay clear. here. And I wish that I could make myself disappear and get myself out of here. Snap my fingers. Oh, oh, 'cause I'd rather be anywhere else, anywhere else, anywhere else but here. I'd rather be anywhere else, anywhere else, anywhere else but here. I could be catching a wave, I could be seeing the world, I could be riding with the top down, kissing my girl. I could be anywhere else, anywhere else, anywhere else but here. The sun is coming up, don't wanna get out of bed. Well, here we go again, I'm back to where I began. Oh, you can take my checkbook, credit cards and keep them. I'd give them up for just a little bit of freedom. And my escape, I'm planning it in my head. And I wish that I could make myself disappear, get myself out of here. Oh, oh, 'cause I'd rather be anywhere else, anywhere else, anywhere else but here. I'd rather be anywhere else, anywhere else, anywhere else but here. I could be sipping a drink, I could be getting a tan, I could be hanging on the beach with my toes in the sand. I could be anywhere else, anywhere else, anywhere else but here. No more bus stops, sitting in traffic, waking up at 6 in the morning ain't gonna happen. No more office, long, long lineups. You can just forget about it. We want freedom. We want freedom. I'd rather be anywhere else, anywhere else, anywhere else but here.